Have you ever felt invisible, as if what you do isn't really noticed or valued by the people around you? Maybe you've gone out of your way to help, had a brilliant idea, or sacrificed yourself for someone, but haven't even received a thank you. This feeling of not being a priority for those who matter to us is deeply painful. It creates frustration, sadness, and often the feeling that we're not good enough. It's natural to want recognition, but the reality is that it won't always come. Sometimes, even when we give our best and dedicate ourselves sincerely, people simply don't notice or choose not to recognize our value. This even happens with those we consider closest: family, friends, partners, or colleagues. The expectation that we will be valued and prioritized can put us in a position of emotional fragility. When this expectation is not met, we feel that something inside us is broken, that our self-esteem diminishes, and that our value is conditioned by the way others see us. But is there a way to change this? Can we become a priority in someone else's life, be recognized and valued as we would like? The answer is yes, but first we need to understand that it is not about forcing others to prioritize us, but rather about changing our own attitude. Stoic philosophy teaches us that we should not place our happiness on the expectation of other people's behavior. Expecting constant recognition is a sure recipe for frustration. However, there are strategies we can adopt so that people will naturally start to value us more. It's not about manipulating us, but about establishing healthy boundaries, valuing ourselves, and cultivating an attitude that inspires respect and empathy. When we change our energy, the world around us changes as well. So, I want to share with you 9 fundamental steps to becoming a priority in the lives of those who matter to you, and no longer an option or someone who is easily ignored. The first step is to gently create a fear of losing you. Psychologically, people are more motivated by the fear of loss than by the pleasure of gain. When someone feels that they might lose your presence, your attention, or your affection, they begin to value your importance more. This does not mean pulling away abruptly or playing emotional games, but rather starting to establish a healthy emotional distance. Reduce the frequency with which you give yourself and allow the other person to feel your absence. By doing this, the person will realize that you are no longer always available, that you are not guaranteed. This feeling may be uncomfortable for them, but it is in this discomfort that the power to transform the relationship lies. However, be careful. The distance must be balanced. If it is excessive, it can have the opposite effect, pushing the person away permanently. The secret is to create enough space for the other person to notice your absence, but not to the point of losing the bond completely. The second step is to avoid being always available. Often, when we like someone or want to be noticed, we end up being present all the time. We respond promptly to any call, accept invitations without hesitation, and, unconsciously, communicate that our life revolves around that person. The result: we are seen as a given, as someone who will always be there, regardless of how we are treated. This, unfortunately, reduces our value in the eyes of others. When you start prioritizing the quality of your presence, not the quantity, you send a powerful message: your company is valuable. It's not about being indifferent or absent, but about demonstrating that you have a rich and full life, with your own commitments, interests, and goals. This attitude inspires respect and makes people start to value the moments they share with you more, understanding that your presence is not something that can be wasted. The third step is to maintain a bit of mystery. In a world where people tend to overexpose themselves, mystery has become a valuable and magnetic asset. When you don't reveal everything about yourself right away, you create an atmosphere of curiosity and interest. People are attracted to what they don't yet know completely. This curiosity drives them to want to be closer, to want to discover more, to seek your company more frequently and intensely. This doesn't mean you have to be cold or distant, but rather that you can strategically keep certain aspects of your life private by sharing them gradually. Don't reveal all your thoughts, feelings, or stories at once. Let people discover you little by little, leaving them intrigued and wanting to know more. This natural process of discovery creates stronger, more lasting connections, making you a sought-after presence and, consequently, a priority. The fourth step is to allow others to invest in you. In psychology, there is a concept called the investment effect. The more someone invests in a relationship, the more they tend to value it. This happens because when human beings dedicate time, energy, and resources to something or someone, they create a deeper emotional bond. So, if you want to be a priority, allow people to do things, to get involved, to commit themselves, to actively participate in your life. Often, out of insecurity or fear of appearing dependent, we end up avoiding letting others do things. We refuse favors, minimize our needs, and position ourselves as overly self-sufficient. But this prevents the other person from becoming emotionally involved. When you allow people to invest their time and attention in you, you create a stronger bond and, naturally, you begin to occupy a more important position in their lives. The fifth step is to prioritize your own needs. Often, we try to be someone else's priority, but we don't prioritize ourselves. We neglect our own desires, we put ourselves aside for the sake of others, and we end up putting ourselves in second place. This behavior sends a clear message: if you don't even prioritize yourself, why would others? To be seen as important, you must first see yourself as such. This is an internal movement that begins with self-knowledge and self-respect. Value your time, your emotions, and your limits. Don't settle for less than you deserve. If someone repeatedly shows that they don't prioritize you, it may be time to reconsider the importance you give them in your life. Reciprocity is one of the fundamental pillars of healthy relationships. When you prioritize yourself, you send a powerful message: you are valuable, you deserve respect, and you should be treated as such. And this attitude inspires others to do the same. The sixth step is to not put the other person at the center of your life. It is common, especially in romantic relationships, to put the other person as the main focus of our existence. We shape our choices, our schedules, and our interests based on them. However, this attitude can have the opposite effect to the one desired. Instead of making us indispensable, it makes us be seen as guaranteed, as someone who will always be there, regardless of the treatment we receive. Maintaining your own individuality, your hobbies, your friendships, and your personal projects is essential. This not only preserves your identity, but also increases your attractiveness. People are naturally attracted to those who have a full life, who have their own essence and do not depend emotionally on others to feel fulfilled. Therefore, by not putting the other person at the center of your life, you become more interesting, more desired, and, consequently, more valued. The seventh step is to stop initiating communication all the time. Often, when we want to keep someone close, we are the ones who always send messages, call, and propose dates. Over time, this behavior creates an imbalance in which the other person becomes comfortable, knowing that we will always be the one to take the initiative. This diminishes our value in their eyes, as it conveys the idea that we need them, while they can choose when or if they want to be with us. By reducing or even stopping initiating communication, you give the other person space to feel your absence. If they are genuinely interested, they will seek you out. This movement is essential to re-establishing balance in the relationship. It shows whether there is reciprocity or whether you are investing alone. In addition, it allows you to value your own energy and time even more, channeling them towards those who truly show a desire to be by your side. The eighth step is to create your own happiness. One of the biggest mistakes we make is to place our happiness on the presence or approval of another person. This creates an emotional dependence that, in addition to being exhausting, drives away those around us. Happy, fulfilled, and independent people are naturally more attractive. When you show that your happiness does not depend exclusively on someone else, but is the result of your own choices and attitude, you convey security and emotional maturity. Building your happiness involves cultivating hobbies, developing your skills, taking care of your physical and mental health, investing in your career, and strengthening your social ties. The more fulfilled you feel, the less you depend on others to feel good. And this emotional independence makes people want to be around you, not out of necessity, but out of admiration. This way, you start to be seen as a priority, not because you demand it, but because you become someone whose presence is enriching. The ninth and final step is to be willing to walk away. This is perhaps the most difficult, but also the most powerful. Being willing to walk away means that you recognize your own worth to the point that you will not accept remaining in a relationship, friendship, or bond where you are not respected or valued. Often, simply demonstrating that you are not afraid to walk away completely changes the dynamics of the relationship, causing the other person to rethink their actions. If, even after all these steps, you realize that you are not a priority for those who want you, it is important to accept it and move on. Insisting on staying where you are not valued is a silent form of aggression against yourself. Remember, those who truly care about you will make a point of showing it. Those who do not simply do not deserve the space you are offering. Value yourself to the point that you do not accept less than. Your happiness depends, first and foremost, on you. These 9 steps are, above all, an invitation to self-knowledge and to strengthen your self-esteem. Don't wait to be valued to start valuing yourself. Start now, changing your attitude, establishing healthy boundaries, and cultivating your own happiness. Over time, you will notice that the people who really matter will begin to recognize and value you naturally, without you having to demand it of them. In addition to these steps, I want to share with you some profound lessons inspired by Stoic philosophy. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most important representatives of Stoicism, reminds us that you have power over your mind, not over external events. This is one of the greatest truths in life. We cannot control how others perceive us, but we can control how we react to it and how we conduct our own lives. The first lesson is, define your self-worth from within. In a world that imposes aesthetic, social, and financial standards, it is essential to understand that your value does not depend on anything external. You are valuable simply by existing. Recognizing this is the first step to freeing yourself from the constant. Make your self-worth an internal anchor, uncheckable in the face of fluctuations in the outside world. The second lesson is, cultivate self-compassion. We are often our own tormentors, demanding perfection, punishing our failures, and diminishing our achievements. Self-compassion is not indulgence, but rather recognizing that we are human, fallible, and deserving of care and understanding. Treat yourself with the same kindness you would offer a dear friend. This practice profoundly transforms your relationship with yourself and, consequently, with others. The third and essential lesson is to set boundaries. Healthy boundaries do not push people away. On the contrary, they demonstrate self-respect and inspire respect from others. Knowing how to say no, protecting your time, your energy, and your emotions is an act of self-love. Without boundaries, we become vulnerable to toxic and draining relationships. With boundaries, we create the space necessary for healthy relationships to flourish. If you like this video, don't forget to like it and subscribe to the channel. Here, we always seek to bring deep and practical reflections that can transform your life. And if you want to take the next step on this journey of self-discovery, click the Become a Member button and come be part of our community. Together, we continue to evolve, learn, and cultivate the inner strength to live with more purpose and serenity. Until the next video.